Hi everyone, Sarah here from Sarah Homfray Embroidery. Welcome to another Tuesday Chit-Chat. That's what we've decided to call it. You really enjoyed last week's one, so I thought we'll do a few more, see if you like them or not. And I thought today we'd have a little bit of a look at some reading matter and some embroidery related books with words in and not pictures. We'll go through those in a second, put them there. But I just thought we'd have a little catch up first on last week, what's been happening since last week. So Friday's video was roses. Framed them. This is my little sample one that I just practiced on, make sure I knew what I was doing for the video. So 5 different ways to embroider roses. That's up on the main channel if you haven't seen it. That was the one I did for the actual video. And I spaced them out just so I can get nice photographs of it for the thumbnail. So they don't necessarily look very beautiful when you look at what I've actually stitched for the video, but it's all practical so I can take photos and show you clearly what it is I've been doing. So that one is up now, and also up now, it went up today, is the channel member, YouTube channel member and Patreon video, and we've made these lovely little roses, got a rose theme going, these beautiful 3-dimensional roses, and I've just done a video for them on how to make those as well. So if you're interested in those, pop over and check one of those out. It's not very much to try it for a month, and you've got lots of other content. I think we're about 20 something extra videos now and some free designs and some other stuff to get involved in as well. I'll put the description for both of those and the links in the description below this video. If you're interested in one of those, go and check those out. And the other thing I showed you last week that I was making was my little bag. So we're going away on a cruise ship in our role as craft instructors. We're going in a couple of weeks' time, and I said I never had a bag, never had the right bag for the ship. So I probably just made myself another bag for it. So this is the little one I was making that I showed you last time. And it's all finished. Quite pleased with it. It feels amazing. Wish you could feel it because I put so much stitching in it. Just stitched the whole thing, so it's just a plain bit of blue fabric, laid a load of other fabrics on top, and I've just basically done running stitch for all of it. Some of it's in little spirals, and I've just sort of patchworked it in a slow stitching kind of way. I've not finished the edges off, I've just over sewn those edges both ways so you get this little zigzag effect. So I'm not worrying about raw edges and finishing it off. And then I made my little purse to go inside as well, so I've got a little bag and a little purse for all those little bits that roll around in the bottom of your bag. So that's my bag finished. So I have done that. And while I'm just mentioning the cruise, I just want to mention the shop because we are going to keep it open. Sometimes we keep it open, sometimes we shut it, and it does get a bit confusing, I appreciate, but we're going to keep it open this time, but obviously we won't be able to dispatch things while we're away. So please check out the home page and the shop front page for our dispatch times. We will dispatch the day before we go, which I think is Thursday the 5th, I think. And then as soon as we come back, we'll dispatch again. So if you're ordering that time, you can order, you can browse the shop, but we won't be dispatching until we get back. I'm just going to emphasise that because people always go, where's my order? You haven't sent out my order. So I try and put it on everything that I can so that people know, but just to let you know about that. And I thought, well, we're on that, I'll just show you where we're going. So we're on board with Fred Olsen Cruise Lines, and this is the cruise we're doing, Scotland, Scilly Isles and the West Country. I'm just going to show you the little map. So they send you this brochure out when you book a cruise. It's beautiful, and it's just, this is the brochure on your specific cruise, not a cruise brochure, this is the one on the one you're doing, and they send all the places that you're going to in it and tell you about the places, and you can book some excursions, and very beautiful. Excited to go. So we're going around the United Kingdom, the British Isles. I'll show you where we're going. You see that? So we are leaving from Rosyth in Edinburgh. We're going up to the Shetland Islands. We're going around the top here, doing a bit of scenic cruising. No, I'm going the wrong way. I can't see it in the camera. So we start Rosyth, we're going this way. That's better. Up to the Shetland Islands, bit of scenic cruising down here, down the Irish Sea, down to the Scilly Isles, which I'm excited about, right off Cornwall here. And then we go along the bottom and we make some stops along the bottom to Falmouth, Dartmouth and Portsmouth. So lots of maritime heritage along here, and there's some fun stuff going on when we stop there. And then we're sailing all the way back up the other side, back up to Rosyth. So we're doing complete circumnavigation of the British Isles. Not many chances you get to actually sail around your island. to remember we are an island nation, so it's really going to be quite exciting to sail around our island, I think. So that's what we're doing in a couple of weeks' time. So back to this week's chit-chat, because we've got a few more videos to go before we go away. And I was having a little look through the books on my shelf, sorting them. I think I might have been looking for something specific. And I kept coming across all these books. And I thought, oh, that's a good book. I've forgotten about that. And then I thought there's a theme here. So I thought we'd look at embroidery-related books that are reading books. So rather than beautiful glossy ones that show you how to do stuff, something that you could actually read about it. So got a big pile of them here. There's a few more on the desk. So some of them are fiction, some of them are historical, some of them are none of the above, but still interesting and relative, I think. So I thought I'd just show you them quickly. This is not my recommendation of what you should read. These happen to be on my shelf. Some of them I absolutely love. There's probably loads more. So if you know of another book that I should read, or you want to tell everybody else about and they should read, we'll make a little list of it. So I'll put them in the description below the video. So if you want to let me know what you've read on the embroidery, colour, stitching, sewing, fabric related books, then do let me know and we'll compile a little reading list and we can all use that and have a look and see if we can find something we haven't read yet. So this isn't any specific order really, but I just thought I'd start with these because these are, well, this one is one of my favourites. So this is Lady in the Unicorn by Tracy Chevalier. And I will put these books actually, I'll start the list with these books I've got. So if you don't catch what they are, they will be in the description below the video. So this is another one by her, A Single Thread. So she's written quite a few books and these are fiction books, but they're based on a type of embroidery. So she does a lot of research into that embroidery and she makes up a story around it. So the Lady in the Unicorn tapestries is a set of 6 or 7 tapestries. They're in France and they're absolutely beautiful, and I haven't got a picture of it. I've got a book on it somewhere and I can't find the book anywhere. It's so annoying. It should be on the shelf. So but these beautiful red tapestries, and they've got all of these little animals in them and they've got flowers in them, and they're on all the senses. They're on taste and smell and touch, and there's a tapestry for each one, and they're on display in France, and they're in a sort of round room and you can just sit in the middle and you can look at all of them. Absolutely amazing. But people don't really know the history of them and who made them and why. They have an idea. So Tracy Chevalier has kind of made up a story around these tapestries and how they might have come into being. So she's done a lot of research, a lot of accuracy in how the tapestries would have been made and where they would have been made and the dyes that were used, but she's made up this fictional story around it as to how they came into being, and I really love this. She's the author of A Girl with a Pearl Earring, if you know that. That was obviously made into a film. So I really loved that one. Fantastic description of how tapestries are made. This one that she did was on a similar theme, but set in England. I think it's Winchester. I'm just going to check that. Yes, Winchester Cathedral, and the making of so needlepoint or canvas work, as we would call it over here, and she's got lots of descriptions on how that would be made. And this girl who goes to work for the cathedral and makes these needlepoints, makes these canvas works, and a little story around that. Not as favourite as this one. I struggled with this one a little bit. Found it a little bit slow, but I love the research she puts into it, and really good descriptions of the techniques. And if you've ever done any canvas work and needlepoint, you will recognise a lot of that in there. So a couple by her that I think are worth having a little look at. And then I've got a couple here which are more about the history of embroidery and fabrics and threads and sewing. So those come at it from a slightly different angle. Let's look at this one first. This is Threads of Life by Claire Hunter. So she sort of looks at, well, I'll read the front, A History of the World Through the Eye of a Needle. So this is more about the context of needlework and of sewing and of fabrics throughout history. So it's not really, this is linen and this is the history of linen. She splits it up into different categories. I'll read you a couple in the content. So frailty, power, journey, loss, community, place, art, voice. So she's sort of looking at it from more of a social context, really, and talks about the history of the threads and how they're intertwined with our social life and our way of life. So that's that one. And then there's another one called The Golden Thread, How Fabric Changed History. This is Kassia Sinclair. And this one is a little bit more, this is this kind of fabric, this kind of thread, and this is how it's involved in history. So I do like this one. It's a good one to jump in and out of. So I'll just read a couple of their contents. So she looks at the origins of weaving, wrapping and unwrapping Egyptian mummies, silk in ancient China, the Vikings, woolen sails, lace and luxury, wool in medieval England, cotton America and trade, clothing to conquer Everest and the South Pole. So she's covering like all of the history of it right to current day, suits suitable for space. So really interesting history of fabric and its historical context. And then right at the end, I just want to point this out because chapter 13 is the Golden Cape harnessing spider silk. Now, I have actually seen this cape. It's an actual thing. It was on display at the Victoria and Albert Museum a good few years ago now. And I've got a little book on that. Golden spider silk. So I don't know if anybody has seen it, what you think about it, but actually spun this cape out of the silk of the spider. So it's the golden, let me get the right spider, mark the page. It's the golden orb weaver spider of Madagascar, and it produces this colour of thread, and it's actually this colour. This is not dyed, this is what comes from the spider. And people have tried for centuries to collect the spider's silk. It's not a new concept. They've been trying for hundreds of years to collect it, and they worked out how to do it. And I'm pretty sure I read that the spiders are not harmed. They release them back, and then they go and collect them the next day, and they extract the silk, and then they release them back into the forest, which is why you can only do it in Madagascar. So lots of people would go out and collect the spiders and bring them in, and they'd harvest and then go let them go again. So yes, somebody actually made this silk out of these spider things, and the only image it's got of the whole cape in it is this one here. But look at the colour of it, absolutely magnificent. I don't know why they made that out of it. I think it was relevant to Madagascar. There's some relevance of that, but the whole book is about how the history of spider silk and how people try to make something out of the spider silk. And I don't know if you can see it. So can you see the spider? They've actually stitched the spider into this pattern here. I won't show you the spiders because of the pictures of them, and they're a bit creepy, but I don't know how you feel about that. But it's an interesting material. You can stitch with lots of different fabrics and fibres, and that somebody has tried this and actually made this huge cape out of it is amazing. So that is mentioned in that book there. I just thought I'd show you that as I got both of them. So a couple of books on sort of the history of fabrics and sewing and history, which you might find interesting. So I've also got this one on the Bayeux Tapestry. So in a previous set of videos I show you some of my favourite books I've got on my shelf, and it's a big glossy book with a beautiful photographs of the Bayeux Tapestry in it, and it's really beautiful to look at. But this is the history of the Bayeux Tapestry. So this is by Carola Hicks, The Life Story of a Masterpiece, it's called. So this is trying to really dig down into the tapestry and who made it, why they might have made it, how they made it, because we don't necessarily know those things for certain. There's lots of clues and lots of ideas about it, but she really, really digs down into the history of it. So if you're interested in the tapestry and you've got the beautiful glossy one and you like looking at the pictures and you want to know more, this one is a really good book on that subject. Now, this book isn't about embroidery per se, but it is about colour. And I think if you're going to do embroidery, it's worth learning about colour. I did a whole video, I've got a couple of videos actually on colour for embroidery, how to choose colour, what it might mean symbolically in your work, how to put different colours together. So do go and check that one out if you haven't seen it, because there's a lot of information there about colour, some really basic colour theory, which is perfect for the embroidery. I think it's something that you do need to know about. And this book is The Secret Lives of Colour. This is also Kassia St. Clair, so the same lady who did The Golden Thread. See the similarities? And this is a history of the colours. So let me show you inside. So it picks a colour, and it's like every colour. And it's really beautiful the way they've done all these coloured edges. So you can sort of pick it by the colour that you're interested in. And they have, the printing's amazing in it, because then you have, look at that. So a different history on each colour in there, and you can literally just dip in and out of it. You don't have to read it from cover to cover, and I think it's a colour that I'm interested in. So the colour purple, and lots about the history of it, who has used it, why they've used it, where the colour purple came from, different kinds of purples as well if you want something on that theme. So I think this is really fascinating just to learn about colour. It's just something I'm interested in. It's another level of colour. You don't need to know it to know your embroidery, but I think it's really amazing, and especially if you're thinking of colours that you want to use and you're choosing colours. Is there something symbolic you want to use? Different cultures have different colours that mean different things, so you might find that important in your work. And it's sort of not specifically about fabric colours, it's just colour in general. So you can apply it to painting, you can apply it to fabric, you can apply it to threads, but just really an interesting look into different colours. I've got more colours in there than you can imagine as well, a little bit of history about it, so I find that one really, really useful and lovely just to dip in and out of and have a look at a new colour. Now I found this one in a charity shop ages ago, and it's been sitting on my shelf. Now sometimes I buy books and think, oh, they were just really nice books, and you could do a little bit of art with it, and you can change the book and you can do altered books, and you can paint some things in it, and I find these really lovely books. Oh, that would be great to do, and then they're just too nice to do anything with, and I never do it. So this is The Story of a Needle, and it's by A.L.O.E. I don't even know, that's just the initials of this person, so I don't even know who it is. Marjorie Miller used to own it. And it's got lovely little plates in it, printing. That's her getting the ink all over the desk. So T. Nelson and Sons is the publisher, 1893. If you're interested in finding it, that's the details you'll need, by A.L.O.E., author of Beyond the Black Waters, Harold's Bride, and The Blacksmith of Boniface Lane. And it's the actual story. I read it a long time ago, and I'm going to have to read it again. So I can't remember what it is, but it's the story of a needle from the point of view of the needle. So it's the needle talking. So I'm going to read you the very first bit. I really can say nothing of my earliest days except from report. I have heard, but I can hardly believe it, that I was once part of a rough mass of iron ore that had lain for ages in a dark mine in Cornwall, that I was dug out and put into a huge furnace and heated till I became red hot and melted. So it's actually written from the point of view of the needle. It's a bit quirky, so I might read that one again. So I don't know why I'm showing you that one. I don't know if you can get it or if you're interested in it, but I just thought it was a lovely little book, and it's got this beautiful pattern, embossed pattern on the front as well, and I got it for like, I don't even know how much, £1 or something from a second-hand bookshop. So worth having a little route round, seeing if you can find something novel like this. So just a quick one then, really, this week. I just thought that would be really interesting to show you some reading matter. Help me compile a list. Let me know what else is worth a read on this subject. We'll make a little list. I'll put it in the description below the video. And I have to crack on because I've got to make Friday's video as well, and something for next week because we're away on our cruise next week. So I've got lots of videos to make. So just a little short one this week, but I hope you're enjoying these little chit chats. Do let me know in the comments below. Hope you have a fantastic week, everybody. I shall see you on Friday for Friday's video. Have a good one. See you soon. Bye.